Hello, it's the Rambling Retro Nonsense show. Without Duncan today, he's experienced transport difficulties and he's a very busy political commentator, journalist and what have you. So he's begged a leave of absence today. So it's I'm going to say the one and only, because she is the one and only Hayley and Tommy. Here, I was wondering this. Do you think this is something we can ramble about? It's definitely retro. Do you remember possibly your very first ever attempt at cooking?
Oh, I do. It was mostly cake, because I remember the cake mixture. Everyone does, doesn't they? The cake mixture in the bowl.
Yeah.
Licking it with your fingers, your little finger, though you just scrape round the corners. So I think it was probably cakes. But then I also remember when my mum first taught me how to make eggs. Boiling eggs, do you remember you used to have boiled eggs and soldiers? Oh my God, I could eat that right now. You know, when you just remember something, you think, I eat eggs all the time, maybe 5 times a week, but I don't think I've had soldiers to dip in for 20 years or something.
Soldiers.
Gosh. Yeah, and then the microwave. I remember my mum teaching me how to use a microwave when we got one, probably when I was about a teenager. Things like baked beans and stuff, which meant you didn't have to get pots and pans out. You could just use what. It was mostly, I think, the microwave was such a revolution because I think my mum enjoyed the fact there was less washing up to do, to be honest. Apart from anything. Angel Delight, I remember my mum teaching me how to get out a whisking it. Do you remember those little awful plastic whisks that you used to have that were absolutely useless, by the way? Go on, what was your first memories?
It was incremental, really. I wasn't taught to cook, but when I was 14, because there was nothing else to do, I, with a friend called Roy, we both joined the youth hostel association, right? And there's a youth hostel in Windsor. And so this was the biggest adventure of our lives so far. We cycled from Hounslow to Windsor, which is a good old...
That's quite a way.
It is. It's got to be 10, 12 mile.
Yeah.
And we found the youth hostel and it was bunk beds, 6 bunk beds in a room, but it was quiet. And so it was just Roy and me. And we went to bed hungry because I'd never cooked anything and nor had he. And the following morning, I did have some bread, some white bread. My parents had given me some food. You need to cook yourself breakfast. And there was a gas ring. So I fired the gas ring up. And in the cupboard underneath the gas ring, there was a frying pan. So I put the frying pan on the heat and it started to get hot. And I took out a slice of bread and I put it in the frying pan, thinking, you see, this is how ignorant I was, thinking that because it's a frying pan, anything you cook in it will be fried. I knew nothing about butter or oil or any such like. So I'm sort of keeping an eye on it when I start to smell burning.
Oh, no.
I get a fork and I flip it over and it's completely black. Inedible, utterly inedible, and yet still soft. Burnt to a crisp and yet soft and squidgy on the inside. Inedible. And that almost put me off cooking. I felt so foolish and so uninformed. My dad could cook fried bread, but he didn't ever show me how.
Oh, I love fried bread. It's one of my favourite things
really
in the world.
Really crispy. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's so indulgent, isn't it? Honestly, I only have it once in a while because obviously it's got about 10,000 calories in it.
Yes.
But when I do, it's like the world stops turning. It's one of those things that you just close your eyes and you think, I can't believe this is actually a thing because it's too good to be true. Oh, delicious.
Going back to soldiers, they're not toast, are they? They're bread. I think. Or do you toast your soldiers? Because if you toast them...
I think I would toast it.
Yeah, because then you can get them into the yolk. Because that's what you want to do, is you dunk them.
Because otherwise they're too floppy if you don't toast them.
Exactly.
They're too floppy and then you end up losing half the bread in the egg and then it just kills the moment completely.
Yes. We had, years ago, a young child come to stay with us who needed a roof over their head and she was quite all over the place, but one Sunday morning, I did something that really sort of turned her around, and it was this. My wife was in on the joke, so she was able to assist. I would get a boiled egg and put it in the egg cup, yeah? And then I would pretend that I was distracted. And this child would eat the boiled egg that I'd served them, and I'd cut the tops off, the yolk bit, and she would finish it so that the eggshell was empty, right? And I would pretend to be distracted and look away and say, oh, look, is that a lion in the garden? And she would swap her empty boiled egg, turn it over, take my boiled egg out of the egg cup, put the empty one in, upside down, so it looked like an ordinary boiled egg sitting waiting to be eaten. And then I would do this theatrical thing of tapping the egg, right, and then opening it up, and there's nothing in it. And I would do all that sort of mock indignance. What's happened here? What? How can this be? And it turned this child round completely, being the instigator of this amusing embarrassment of the so-called perfect adult, sort of. You know. And it was a great memory of eggs. Ever had a prairie oyster?
No, I love oysters. They're one of my favourite things.
Aren't they good?
I love an oyster.
I do
It's one of
too.
my favourite things.
They taste of the sea.
Oh,
Don't they?
Stunning.
Do you chew or swallow?
Oh, swallow.
Oh, right.
Do you chew?
I've never swallowed. I've always wanted to get all the taste and the texture and the experience. I want the experience to last in my mouth as long as possible. So I'm a chewer, yeah.
Interesting.
A prairie oyster is a hangover cure.
Oh, really?
Yes, it doesn't work.
Oh.
And it consists of, you put a raw egg into a cup, a raw egg, mind you.
Ooh.
You don't break the yolk, so you've got the whole yellow yolk and the white, and then you start decorating it with things like Worcester sauce, Tabasco, salt and pepper, celery salt if you've got it. I reckon that some people put a tot of vodka in there as well, just to, hair of the dog.
Ooh.
But apparently if you go into any bar in America and say, I'd like a prairie oyster at 9 o'clock in the morning, they know exactly what you're talking about.
I've never heard of that one. I'm going to have to, I don't know if I want to try it. I was just going to say I might have to try it, but then the way you've described it, I think you need to have a solid stomach for that.
I think we've been put off raw eggs, haven't we, by Edwina Curry? If you go back that far.
Yeah. Oh, cheese on toast was one of the first things that I learned how to cook. And getting it just right so you didn't burn it underneath the grill, and then putting onions on top, which really elevates it. Oh, delicious. And spaghetti bolognese, I think that was one of the first things that my mum taught me how to cook. But, back in the day, it was just add a bit of this, add a bit of that. There was no kind of measuring things or being, now you kind of need to look exactly. And I remember we used to have like handwritten recipe cards in the kitchen.
Yes.
And like recipe clippings from magazines that my mum had cut out,
with food
or
all
having to
over,
ring your auntie.
Yeah, with food all over them.
Yes, so
gravy
you could barely read them. Or your mum saying, we'll have to ring your auntie to find out how to make that one, because I'm sure she cooks that. Or you would wait until the cooking programme was on the telly to have to watch the TV chef demonstrate it first. You couldn't do what you do today, which is go onto YouTube and put in a recipe and say, how do I cook X, Y and Z?
No.
You had to wait, that cooking programme's on next Wednesday. So I do really fancy that, but I have to wait until it's on the telly.
Talking about measuring things out and weighing things and everything. One of the things I've got wrongest by the biggest margin is that I auditioned Delia Smith for the job of being the afternoon cook on LBC, and I'd only just got into it, and I didn't know what I was talking about. And they said,
brilliant.
will you take her into the studio and see what you think of her? And she rattled off about 25 3-minute recipes, and I took her out. I said, thanks very much. She was only about 22, 23.
Gosh.
And I said, that's nice. Yeah, very good, very good. Anyway, I came back down into the newsroom, and the news editor said, is she any good? And I went, no chance. No chance.
Wow. What a story.
No chance. I said, she's very flat, very monotone. Doesn't give it any pizzazz whatsoever. So, of course, there's me, a couple of 3 years later, when she's number one from nowhere. But she apparently intrigued a great many men with her precision. And I do remember shouting at the telly. I used to shout at the telly a lot. And I remember shouting at the telly, no, Delia, don't. Delia, no, don't. Oh, she has. She was making a recipe, and she went, and then, as a finishing touch, add just 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoonful of Worcester sauce. And she picked up a teaspoon and measured it out in a teaspoon. 1/2 teaspoon of Worcester sauce, and carefully poured it in. And to me, that's just taking it too far. Just chuck it in. Bit of Worcester, bit of Tabasco, couple of, twizzles of pepper. But no, not Delia. Quarter to a half of teaspoon, a teaspoon of Worcestershire
Quarter
sauce.
to a half.
I mean, no, please don't. That just is so heartless. Literally, there's so little spirit in it. But she's done very well. She ended up being worth 90 million quid. So what do I know?
What do you know?
What do I know?
Oh,
I didn't fail her or anything, because I would never deny anybody on the way up an opportunity. But I did say to the editor, I don't think she's for us. I don't think she... Well, we played out all the bits that she recorded, but she was well on her way by then, because she'd begged a little slot in the Evening Standard, if you remember the Evening Standard.
Oh, wow, I do.
And about 3/4 of the way through the Evening Standard, there would be a little eighth page recipe, and it was her. And it would just be simple things like scrambled eggs on toast, things that you didn't really need a recipe for, but that was how she got her foot in the door, and did very well. So, like I say, what do I know?
Oh, the Evening Standard, though, that brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Yes.
Having a bloke outside every single tube or train station shouting, "Come and get your Evening Standard."
Standard! Evening news.
Brilliant.
Did you prefer the Standard or the News? If you live outside of London, or you're not of a certain generation, then you won't know what we're talking about. But there used to be these regular, 2 of them, that, as I remember, evening newspapers. And you preferred the Evening Standard?
Yeah, there was 2 editions. But no, there was 2 editions, wasn't there? Do you remember with the Standard?
I think...
Or maybe even 3 editions, wasn't there?
One of the things I learnt in Fleet Street was how to tell which edition a newspaper is.
Oh.
And there were 5 editions of the Evening Standard. And you could identify which edition it was, because at some point in the margin, either on the front or the back page, unobtrusively, they would put a number of small stars. 1 star was the first edition, 2 star was the second, and so on up to 5. I don't know why. I guess they were just updating the news. Sometimes they would run...
things happen.
Sometimes they would run a fake front page story, because their rival, the Evening News, would get it and they go, "Oh, look what they're leading with. They're leading with the Secretary of State for Defence resigning. Quick, hold the front page." But actually, the real lead story in the Standard was going to be some film star having it off with another film star.
Yeah.
So they would do that to each other to try and stay one ahead,
Yeah. Oh, and I remember at the end of the evening, if you got like the last train home, the whole carriage just looks like a recycling centre, didn't it? Because there was just papers everywhere.
Yeah.
That no one... Because you always read it on the tube, but you always left it on the tube, because you never took it with you, did you?
No, well,
I did anyway. Everyone just used to leave it on the seat, didn't they, behind them as they got up for their stop.
Yeah. I used to like the cartoons in the tabloids. There were some fairly good cartoons, and the Daily Mail and the Express used to have a regular political cartoonist who every day would do a sardonic story about the state of British politics, which was no worse or better than it is today, because nothing really changes, does it?
No.
Illingworth was one and Emwood was the other. Political cartoons. It's funny what you remember.
I remember doing the crossword
Yes.
on the way home from work every day, or on the way, like depending on whether it was a morning paper or the Evening Standard on the way home. I used to like a crossword.
When I started having a go at this journalism lark, I was doing top stories. I wasn't, Faulty Iron Starts Blaze or any such. I was straight in with the Middle East, Northern Ireland, political scandals and PMs resigning and things like that. And I used to start work at Brighton Station, heading towards Temple Underground Station in London, which was the nearest one to Fleet Street. And that would take me 2 hours. And I used to travel on the train with a Guardian, because that used to cover every story. Most of the other newspapers, even the broadsheets, had their political agenda, but the Guardian liked to pretend it covered everything from every angle. So I would sit on the train going up through Haywards Heath on the left and then East Croydon. And I would sit there with a razor blade. And you couldn't do this nowadays, could you? But I would sit there with a razor blade and I would hack out the articles that I wanted to turn into items in the news programme that I was producing that would go on the air at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? So I was sitting there cutting. It was a special razor blade you could get that we used to edit 1/4-inch tape with, because it had a very sharp side blade, and on the other side it was a sort of protected, almost like a little sheath. And I carried it everywhere with me because I liked to cut out the stories that I was going to try and cover and put them in a separate little envelope or in my briefcase, rather than put pencil round them and therefore have to go through the newspaper when I got into the newsroom. So that's another little memory of the idiosyncrasies of buying a newspaper. Now, you just don't see it anymore. Rupert Murdoch has said that he thinks in 15 years' time there will be no newspapers.
Yeah, it's quite sad, isn't it? I think the same with magazines. I mean, when I was growing up, teenage girls and magazines, like I had things like Just 17. We used to get a little free makeup sample on the front of it every week.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was just, honestly, magazines at school was great because you used to, like, in your little friendship groups, you'd each buy one of the titles, and then when you'd finished, you swapped them over so you didn't have to buy more than one, you know, because everyone would buy one of them and then swap them over at the end of the week.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, because otherwise it's a waste, isn't it? I mean, there's no point buying ones and that's the other thing, once you've read them, I remember for a couple of years in my teenage years, I used to collect these bloody things. I don't know why, but I don't know, you just felt like you'd collected them for some ungodly reason. And I remember when I first moved out of home when I was about 19 or 20, my mum said, "Oh, I've got loads of boxes in the attic of magazines that you read when you were a teenager. Do you want them with you?" And I was like, "Oh God, I don't." And I'd chuck them away, obviously, but maybe I don't know if we've done collectibles or things that we collected when we were growing up, but when I was growing up, I did used to collect all sorts of things.
Well, I've got one for you. It's just jumped into my mind whilst I was listening to you. I've got one for you. Do you remember your first, scrapbook?
Oh, I do. I used to love a scrapbook.
Go on.
Oh, I used to do them specifically around summer holidays. So if I over the 6 weeks summer holidays from school, I used to make a scrapbook of like summer of 82 or whatever. And then, I mean, obviously they were mostly Polaroid things or things out of magazines, like all the magazines I used to buy, like, or hairdos that I wanted to do, like perms and stuff. I'd cut out a picture of Kylie Minogue and her latest perm, her hairdo, stick that in the scrapbook, and that would be like the summer of whatever. Oh, I used to love a scrapbook.
Yes.
Do you know what? I think they should bring that back because actually...
Yes, I do. I agree.
It's a really nice way of like documenting a period of time in your eyes, rather than somebody else's expectation of what life or fun should look like. You kind of took your best bits, didn't you? It was like social media, but old school, because you literally just took the best bits. I remember taking pictures of my favourite food. I think I had a picture of my first ever Pizza Hut meal that I had.
Now that is...
I think I had
Everybody does that now on their Facebook page. It is.
Yeah, but I remember I had one of those Insta camera things, like Polaroid things. I remember the first time we had pizza, which was a big deal. It was probably for a birthday or something. We went to Pizza Hut, which was honestly, it was like, it was a thing. And I remember taking a picture of this thing called a pizza with loads of cheese on top and thinking it was the best thing ever, which, to be honest, nothing ever changes. I still love pizza. Yeah, and I remember I had a big page of us and school pictures as well. So, you know, your end of term picture, you always used to put that in there as well. It's
quite fresh in my mind, the scrapbook, because a few days ago I decided to organise my tools in the garage because I've got loads of tools. A great many of them I don't know what they're supposed to do. They look quite painful. They look like the sort of stuff that, Argentine police interrogators used to use. And I was scrubbling around, and underneath one of the tool shelves, tool cupboards, I found a few documents, and one of them was a scrapbook. And my wife had started it when I got my first job on the telly. And there was a picture of me in the Daily Mail, and things that are quite
but special though, really special.
Milestone, yeah. But here's the thing, and I thought it at the time, but didn't say anything because it was a sweet thought. The scrapbook that she bought me, because I was starting to feel quite self-important. You do if you're on telly for the first time. You start to believe your own publicity, which is thin and shallow anyway, but you believe it. And my wife bought me this scrapbook and started sticking things in it. Like the first programme that I was in was Magpie, presented by Mick Robertson, Jenny Handley and Tommy Boyd. And she would cut that out from the TV listings page. and boss stick it into the
Oh,
scrapbook.
Pritt Stick. Do you remember Pritt Stick?
Pritt Stick, yeah, exactly. Pritt Stick. But here's the thing, Hayley. The scrapbook, it wasn't this momentous tome, the sort of thing that Sherlock Holmes would keep important documents. It was a Paddington Bear scrapbook.
Oh, wow.
And it couldn't have been more ignominious. The paper quality was, do you remember sugar paper that you sometimes had to draw
yes.
at school? It was rubbish.
Rubbish. Your pencil went straight through it, didn't it?
It was awful. And to try and up the feel of it, I used this technique that I'd seen an accountant do once, which was, if you're going to write something freestyle, like, 17th of February 1977, my first TV listing, what you do is you get a metal ruler and you put it down on the piece of paper, and then you write, but your the bottom stroke of every letter is even, because you write down until your pen hits the metal bit of the ruler, and it looks sad. Looks really sad. So I looked at a couple of entries in it and put it away again. And we'll probably stay there for another 20 years. But scrapbooks,
That's lovely, though. Yeah. And I remember getting train tickets or cinema stubs and that kind of thing, putting them in there. Glitter, probably was more of a girl thing, but I remember I used to get those little plastic tubs of glitter you could get and put those around the edges of it. And I'm sure my mum's probably got some of these books in her attic, and I bet you some glitter would fall out the moment you opened up the box. Stickers. Oh my God, I used to love stickers when I was growing up.
Yes.
Handwritten song lyrics I used to do as well. So my favourite songs that I had at the time, like in Smash Hits or Top of the Pops magazine. Do you remember in Top of the Pops magazine, you always used to get lyrics at the back of every back or the front. I just remember there being a page of a lyric at the back of the magazine.
What magazines are we talking here? Because I was regularly featured when I started in a magazine called Jackie.
Oh, I remember Jackie, yes.
Do you remember Jackie?
I think I used to get that. Yeah, do you remember that? And birthday cards. So if I had a special birthday card, I used to cut out maybe the front or the back of it where the person had signed it, and I used to put that in the scrapbook. Oh.
How many people are on your list now for a birthday card when it's their birthday?
Oh, do you know what? I would say not many, probably just my mum and my dad and older relatives.
Yeah.
I mean, people my age or younger, I just don't do it.
No.
You send them a WhatsApp, don't you?
You do.
Which is really sad, isn't it?
It is. I've got an old friend. He is literally old, but he lost his wife about 15 years ago, and she used to assiduously do 60, 70, 80 Christmas cards every Christmas.
Wow.
And so when she passed away, he decided he would keep it going. So he managed to find this book in which he had written all the people who she sent Christmas cards to, but all of their birthdays as well.
Oh, wow.
So 2 or 3 times a week, every week, he's down in Hallmark, or our local sweet shop does birthday cards and, good wishes cards and congratulations cards. I'll tell you what, I've had this conversation with a woman who was stocking the card shelf at our local corner store one day. I said to her, tell you what you never get, and I would make use of it, and that's a card that says, I'm sorry I forgot. Because I do forget birthdays. And I really value a card that just said, I'm sorry I forgot your birthday. Been a bit busy,
Oh, but I do remember my mum having one of those address books when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And it had everyone's birthday and address, all A to Z, like that book with the little, the A to Z popping out of the side.
Yes.
No one has address books anymore, do they? Because you just put everything in your phone.
Of your diaries, which you've kept, how far back does the earliest one go?
Oh, do you know what? Last year when we moved house, I found one from when I was about 10 or 11. And what struck me was that, the handwriting was awful, like really bad. I could read it because it was my handwriting, and you can tend to read your own handwriting better than anyone else can. But the one I read last year, it was mostly teenage angst. I was angry at the whole world, and my mum says this and she doesn't know what she's talking about, because that's the age where you think you know everything, isn't it? Do you remember that when you were growing up and you'd say to your parents, you know nothing, I know everything, and your parents always talk back to you saying, you know nothing, just wait until you're my age, then you'll realise how little you knew. Oh gosh!
I think
Didn't you used to think that you knew everything when you was 12 or 13? You literally thought.
Well, we've got a picture in our kitchen of our wedding day, and I would have been about 34, and Jane about 32. And when I look into the eyes of those two young people, I do see two young people who thought they knew it all, but definitely didn't, about what was to come. You know,
or just thinking you have it all sussed out. Don't
got it
you?
all sussed out.
Yeah.
Just to put the icing on the cake, cherry on the top, rather. We got married. That's it now. Down there, it's all plain sailing now. Got everything. Got the house, got 2 cars, got a career, got some children. Well, they'll be on the way soon. Hey, life's easy. I think that's what I think we're thinking. We've cracked it now. What could possibly go wrong?
But also, I think there's an innocence there that is almost charming, because life can be easy if you see it as such, can't it? It's only when we complicate matters.
Thereby hangs an entire spiritual religion, I think. It's a good thought you make. I can't concentrate on positive thoughts all the time, partly because, and I was saying this to my wife yesterday, was it, or was it this morning? I quite like sometimes hitting a bump in the road and having something to cuss about.
Is that an English thing? We like moaning, don't we? As an English race or ethnicity. I don't know what it is.
At the bus stop, I can be stood with 8, 10, 12 people. None of us are going to pay because we've all got bus passes. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
I can't wait for mine.
And you can feel, they are good. You can feel them hoping that the bus is going to be a minute late. They want it to be a minute late so that they can pretend that it puts them out.
Yes.
And the bus comes along on time, and I sometimes mutter, that's disappointing everybody, isn't it?
Oh no, we love it. And I was at the gym yesterday doing one of my legs, bums and tums type classes that I do, and I was chatting to one of the ladies while we were waiting for the class to start, and she was like, it was pouring down with rain even though it's meant to be summer, and she said, I think me and my husband are gonna leave this country. And I said, what, you going on holiday? She said, no, I mean actually leave. She said, it's just everything about this country is going downhill. And I thought, I don't know if I agree with that, but when you do, don't you, with an acquaintance or somebody you don't really know, you just go, you just nod and go, yeah. And you just think, I'm not so sure the whole country is going to pop, but if that's what you believe on a Wednesday afternoon just before aerobics, then fine. It almost felt like she wanted me to agree. That thing where
absolutely.
She didn't want, I could see in her eyes that she wanted to agree that this country was going down the pan, and I thought, I'm not going to spoil the moment, so I just went, it's awful, isn't it?
It's their way of making a connection.
Yes,
they can't make a connection with something positive because they're lost. But they feel that they can make a connection if they moan. The bloke in front of me in the one stop a few weeks ago, dressed like a farmer, aged about 70, sturdy type. And he was giving it large to the young girl who was serving, who didn't really want to know that the world has gone to rack and ruin and, this, that and that's wrong and everything. And he turned to me to look for a little bit more tacit approval. And I just went, well, they've got rid of rickets, haven't they? So it's not all gloom and doom.
But he wasn't expecting that.
He wasn't, and he stopped and he kind of went, yeah. Never heard.
That's good.
I don't think he'd ever heard in his orbit, in his entire social and professional orbit, heard anybody be positive about today. It's all, nowadays, you used to be able to go to bed at night without locking your back door, but anywho, we've just about put the world to rights again.
Oh my gosh, that went quickly. I just thought of something there, but we'll have to save it for next time.
Make a little note in one of your scrapbooks.
I will. Yes, I'll have to.
All right. Great talking to you as ever, Hayley. And hopefully we'll be up to a threesome next time round with Big Duncan on board as well. Till then, talk soon.